Hey y'all, it's Tosh. Okay, I'm going to try to make this shorter than my last video, but I'm going to do a day of surgery to let you all know how the day, not just the day, but the first couple days following my vertical sleeve gastrectomy has gone. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I have lost my mind apparently and lost what I was going to say. But I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy on September the 12th, 2016 at Pikeville Medical Center with Dr. Amy Johnson. I am 1 week post-op today and doing good. That being said, I did not do so good at first. And that's what I'm going to get into. Essentially, the day of surgery, I went in. Originally I was scheduled to be there at 5:15. They called me the day before and said, no, it's changed. You need to be there at 9:15 maybe. So I did. Surprisingly, I was able to sleep the night before, which was strange. But slept. I was fine. Went in. I was in the waiting room for maybe 5 minutes. They called me straight back. Immediately it was, take a pregnancy test, make sure you're not pregnant. I was not, obviously. Change, take everything off, sit in this little bed. My nurse was super sweet. I'm a nurse myself, so sadly, but those of you that are nurses, you can vouch for this. You're hard on other nurses because you know what they're doing. You know if they're doing what they're supposed to, and you know if they're if they have the right attitude. But I liked her. She was great. She came in, asked me some questions, and then got my IV going. They apparently, unbeknownst to me, numb you with lidocaine before they put your IV in. And as a nurse, I know that, that's something you can do. I've never done it because I thought, okay, it's 2 sticks. Like, why would you be stuck twice? That's horrible. Just stick me once, get the IV, and be done. Thank God that she numbed me first because she put it in, like, my wrist bone, which is fine, like, right here, which is one of my favorite places to put an IV. I never knew how much it would hurt. I have been blessed to be semi-healthy aside from morbidly obese. And I had only had one other IV in my life, and that was when I had my EGD prior to surgery. And it was not a big deal. Even with this one numb, it was rough. She had a hard time just because I think I was a little dehydrated and finding the vein, it was difficult. But they numbed me, so it was fantastic in the long run. So I'm trying to readjust here. They got my IV going, gave me a bunch of fluids. They let my husband come back with me. There was a little bit of a delay. The surgery that happened before mine ended up taking a little bit longer. So I think it was probably about 11:15 maybe when anesthesia came around to talk to me. And I told the anesthesiologist, and I'm familiar with him, we work together at the hospital sometimes. I said, I'm really, really afraid that I'm going to be sick because I get very nauseous very easy. So I need you to give me everything in this building there is for nausea before I wake up, because that is the last thing I or anybody else wants me to do following this surgery in particular, is to get sick and throw up. So he's like, absolutely, we'll give you a bunch of stuff, it'll be fine. So my husband left at this point. They came to get me. They gave me medicine through my IV to relax me. It's a medicine called Versed. And it did relax me. I don't know how much they gave me. I have had Versed once before when I had my EGD and took a couple doses to get me relaxed. I don't know how much they gave me, but I was real relaxed real quick. So they gave that to me as they're wheeling me out. They go ahead and put a patch behind my ear called a scopolamine patch, and that is for nausea, just as like a preventative thing. It stayed on the whole time I was there. They got me back in the OR. I was fine. I felt fine. I thought I would be a big ball of nerves, and I wasn't at all, even before the feel-good shot. But I felt fine. I scooted over onto the OR table, laid back. They put like this weird wedge thing under you to position you a certain way, and then they put the mask on with gas and oxygen and had me breathe in. And all I remember is it smelled like plastic. It stinks. And one of the anesthesiologists is standing behind me, and the CRNA is standing beside of me. And they're holding the mask on, and then they're asking me questions, and I'm trying to answer them. And then one of them says, honey, don't talk, just breathe. And I'm like, well, make them quit asking me questions. Stop talking to me, and I won't talk to you. Out. So that's all I remember from that experience. I felt like I was asleep for 5 minutes, and I woke up with my eyes closed still. But I remember hearing them say my name and say, you did great, you did fine. And the only thing I remember saying immediately was, did they open me? I was so afraid that they would not be able to do this laparoscopic. I just remember saying, did they open me? Did they open me? And she said, yes. And I jerked my eyes open. And she said, no. It was laparoscopic. And immediately I got nauseous. And I don't know whether it was from the thought that they had to cut me wide open, or if it was the nausea itself. But I said, okay, thank God, can I have something for nausea? And then I was out. I don't remember anything else, really. It was a lot. It was a big blur. Just kind of in and out. I remember bits and pieces of things. And I remember asking for nausea medicine several times. I was so sick. And then I would go to sleep. And then I'd kind of wake up a minute and I'd go back to sleep. And I remember, I guess they were taking me to my room. And I remember looking up and I saw my dad standing in the hallway outside of these patient rooms upstairs. And I remember the nurse saying, do you know him? And I said, that's my daddy. And then they wheeled me in the room. My IV got caught on something and almost ripped out of my arm. I do remember that. And they got me situated in the bed. And I don't remember. Like, even now, it's so fuzzy. Apparently, my parents were there, and my brother was there, and my husband. And apparently I talked to them for like a minute, and my dad said I was very groggy and very much in pain. And I remember them putting my PCA button, my little pain pump, you push it to give you medicine. They put it in my hand and said, okay, hit this button when you start hurting. And I just remember hitting it and thinking I'm going to die. And then I was out again. Apparently, I was in recovery for about 4.5 hours. They couldn't really, I came out of the anesthesia, but then I didn't. I don't know. I don't really know. They said they don't think I had a reaction. They don't think it was difficult. It may have just been a little bit too strong for me. That night, I had some friends from work that had actually come to check on me, and I very vaguely remember them being there. Honestly, that first night into the next morning was a big blur. I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember exactly what happened. I do remember I got sick about 8 o'clock that night. I started getting very sick. I remember hollering for my husband to get me something, and I vomited. And I was terrified. Terrified. Because all I could think was they've literally removed like 80% of my stomach, and I've just ripped that back open. And I tried everything in the world not to, and I made him go get the nurse, and she brought me Zofran, which they said they'd been giving me around the clock anyways. Of course, it did nothing. And I like Zofran. Zofran normally works really well for me. It did nothing. About 40 minutes later, I got sick again, vomited again. And they ended up giving me Zofran, Phenergan. I'm wanting to say maybe Benadryl, just to kind of try to knock me out. It didn't phase the nausea. It would knock me out, and then I would wake up sick, and I would vomit again. I vomited several times. And that night, one of the charge nurses came in after I had gotten sick again, and I said, I'm so afraid that I'm damaging my stomach. And she said, well, then don't throw up. Okay. I'm going to word myself real carefully here. I don't have an on-off switch that controls my stomach. If any of you do, let me know. Let me know down below. Because I don't. I came without that. So I was a little upset. On top of being sick, I was very just how ignorant of something to say, first of all. And I just remember like calmly kind of like composing myself, and I said, trust me, I know how dangerous this is. I know I can't help it. Like I don't know what to do to make it stop. And she said, well, honey, just don't think about it and it won't happen. Okay. So at that point, I'm done with her. Like, thank you, bye. Another nurse comes in at one point to give me medicine as I'm throwing up. And she takes my pain button, which I had not hit. I'll have you know, I had not hit it in several hours. But she's like, you don't need to hit this if you're sick. So then at that point, I have no pain relief, no pain medicine. The gas pains were unbearable. Unbearable. I don't have a high pain tolerance. I'll be the first to admit I do not have a high pain tolerance at all. But it was rough. The gas pains were up in my chest, not in my shoulder so much, but in my chest and in my back. And it would take my breath away. And I asked and begged for anything for gas relief, and they kept saying, just get up and walk. And I did. I would get up and I would walk up and down the hall and up and down and up and down. And then I'd get sick and I'd have to go back to the room, and it did nothing for the gas. Absolutely nothing. I asked for something for gas. I asked for a heating pad. Sometimes that'll help relieve stuff. And that was not something they do either, which I understand all their reasonings. I do. But when you feel that bad, it's hard to be like, okay, it's fine, thank you. It's hard. The next day, they came around, and the nurse practitioner that works with my surgeon did rounds. I told her I'd been sick, and she was, very concerned that the medicine wasn't helping me, essentially. And she said, when was the last time you were sick? And it had been a few hours. And I said, maybe it's passing. I do feel more coherent today. And she gave me the okay to try to drink. They wanted me to drink out of these little medicine cups. Those of you that have had this done, I think it's kind of the same for everybody. Little medicine cups of water, and drink one every 15 minutes. And then if I could prove that I was able to do that, then they would get me a tray. She brought me some bottles of water out of the fridge, gave me a little medicine cup. I filled it up. I took a little sip. I did fine. I felt fine, and I thought, oh, thank God. Okay, finally something to wet my mouth. Let me mention, too, you're not a bit hungry. Nothing. I just needed, I was thirsty a little bit, but I had no appetite. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to eat. Just that dry mouth feeling. So I waited a minute. I took another sip of water. Immediately, I got sick again. Thought, okay, it's fine, it's normal. Waited a little bit, about 15 minutes, tried it again, got sick again. So I ended up talking to the nurse that day, and I said, can you bring me something else, anything else besides water, and let me try that? Because I've never been able to tolerate water when I'm sick. I don't know many people that can, honestly. When you're nauseous, water's just not something you want. So they ended up bringing me some apple juice. And I did fine with the apple juice, did great. So they finally saw that I was able to drink that and keep it down. They brought me a tray with beef broth and green Jell-O and a popsicle and apple juice and grape juice. And I did the apple juice and grape juice. The thought of the broth, I took one sip and could not do it. My stomach could not take it. Popsicle, same way, couldn't do it. I did take a bite of the Jell-O. I'm not a Jell-O person. I hate green Jell-O. So that didn't go over so well either. But my main focus was just let me get these juices down. Let me get something in my system. And I did. I was able to do that, and it went really well. They ended up bringing me another tray later on in the day. I just kept drinking juice. I never drank water again. I just kept drinking juice. Walked up and down and up and down. Like, I feel like I walked a hole in that hallway because I wanted to go home. I was sick, yes, and I was worried because I had been throwing up, but I wanted to go home. I felt like there was nothing that I was getting there that I couldn't get at home at this point. The nausea medicine, yeah, but I can take nausea medicine at home. It's not really helping that much anyways. I wasn't getting pain medicine, so I was getting a little bit of fluids. They had cut them down a lot, but they were afraid I was going to keep getting sick, so they just kind of left them running really, really slow. So I wanted to go home, and I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I could so that they would allow me to go home. They brought me another tray that evening, and I ended up, I think maybe I ate like half a popsicle plus the juice. That's it. I didn't eat anything else off of it. and my surgeon made rounds that evening and agreed to let me go home. So we ended up coming home about 8 o'clock Tuesday evening. I came home. It was rough. Got home, got in my recliner. My husband went and got me some juice. And I didn't mention this. They were all room temperature. The cold liquid, I could not do cold liquid. The popsicle was okay, I think, because it mostly like warmed in my mouth before I swallowed it. I know it sounds gross, but the juices were all room temperature. I'm still having some difficulty with extremely cold liquids. I got in the recliner. He went and got me some juice. I took a drink. Immediately I got sick. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go back to the hospital. I'm going to have to go back to the hospital, and I really don't want to. So then I'm crying. And crying hurts when you have really bad gas pain in your chest, apparently. Really hurts. So I'm just miserable, and I keep saying, why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? This is awful. I did not get sick again after that. I felt fine. I waited a while. I drank some more. I was able to keep it down. I wasn't hurting super bad. So I said, okay, I'm just going to stay, try to sleep. Sleep in the recliner. Actually, I've slept in the recliner every night, and just because it's more comfortable for me right now. I woke up the next morning, started drinking. I never got sick. No, I lied. I got sick one time. Sorry, I got sick one time Wednesday. And I was taking nausea medicine around the clock. But I was able to hold down my fluids. I was able to get up and walk. The gas pains lessened some. And honestly, I told my husband Wednesday morning, I said, if someone had asked me, if someone called me right now and asked me, hey, I heard you got the sleeve. Should I have weight loss surgery? What do you think about it? I would have told anybody, do not ever do this to yourself. It is horrible. It is horrible. It is miserable. I'm so sick. Don't ever do this. I regretted it so much. So much. But the next day, it got much better. And then the next day, it got much better. And it's gotten better every day since. So now I'm totally the opposite. It's just, I think that was the anesthesia. I don't think it was the surgery so much as it was that I had a bad time with the anesthesia and the sickness. Now I can totally see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm doing good. Fluids, I can actually drink water now. I have tried it, and it so far has worked out. I'm doing protein shakes, water. I'm not doing any more juice because it's full of sugar. I do have some sugar-free juice. It's not the same, but it serves its purpose. But I'm so thankful already that I've had this done. So if you're watching this and you are trying to decide if you want surgery, please don't let this scare you. I just want to be very honest and upfront about my experience so that if this happens to you, you're not completely freaked out and thinking you're the only one that's ever gotten sick after surgery. Just please don't let this phase you, other than it does get better. It really does. And everybody kept telling me that, and I kept saying, no, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm so sick. But I feel great. I still have some swelling. I have a lot of bruising. I ended up getting a hematoma under one of my incisions, but it is resolved on its own. It's just leaving a lot of swelling and bruising. I am very satisfied with where I'm at. I can't wait to see what the future holds now that I am officially post-op. If you have any questions that I didn't address, any comments, anything, leave them down below. If you've not subscribed, hit that button. I promise not all my videos are 20 minutes long. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I didn't think it would be that long. So if you've hung in here this whole time, you are a trooper. That's basically it, you all. I just did a 1 week post-op video. Covers a little bit more things. If you're interested in that, check it out. And I will see you all next week or before if something interesting happens. Hope you all are doing great. Take care. Bye.